Why outsourcing has put the U.S. economy on the verge of collapse. Job outsourcing is when U.S. companies hire foreign workers instead of Americans. In 2020, U.S. firms employed close to 15 million overseas workers. There is a strong reason behind that number. Outsourcing assists U.S. firms to become more cutthroat in the worldwide marketplace. It also allows them to sell to foreign markets with overseas branches. This keeps labor costs low by hiring in emerging markets like India, China, and the Philippines, which have relatively lower standards of living and hence generally lower wages. This outsourcing in turn lowers prices on the goods they ship back to the United States. A number of big and small companies are moving to outsourcing to grow while limiting payroll and operating costs. Especially newer companies who are looking to establish a profit model as quickly as possible benefit hugely from it. So it seems outsourcing is supposed to be hugely beneficial and a great virtue to cut costs and keep prices in check, right? But is it entirely the case? Well, many researchers argue it's not. Hello and welcome to The Wealthy Brains, where we bring you the most flaming topics governing your financial well-being. Today, we will explore the arguments behind outsourcing actually being bad for our economy. But before that, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, don't wait any longer. Press that bell icon and never miss an update from us. As far as outsourcing in the US is concerned, the service industry mainly related to IT is one in which a large number of jobs are outsourced. The companies in the US send the IT jobs offers to China and India because the knowledge level in those countries is highly similar. Even the wages are significantly lower. This can be gauged from the fact that a US organization simply has to pay one entry-level IT staff $8,400 USD in India and even lower $7,000 USD per year in China. The high valuation of the dollar as compared to the currencies of the countries in which jobs are being outsourced also is a big contributing factor. Companies in Silicon Valley outsource the tech job offers by providing H-1B visas to overseas-born workers. In the last 20 years, most of the call centers are seen outsourcing to Philippines and India. That's because most of the staff over there can speak the English language and also is qualified. But how does it affect the U.S. economy? The main negative effect of outsourcing is that it increases U.S. unemployment. Outsourced jobs are often more than the number of unemployed Americans. If all those jobs returned, it would be enough to hire millions who are working part-time but would prefer full-time positions. Donald Trump said he would bring jobs back during the 2016 presidential campaign. To do this, he renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement. He imposed tariffs on imports from Mexico and China. That started a trade war and raised the prices of imports from those countries. That benefits companies that make all their products in America. Without tariffs, it can be difficult for American-made goods to compete with cheaper foreign goods. How outsourcing affects the economy of U.S. is a topic of the big contest. For people to the political right, it will have a completely positive effect on the U.S. economy, since these jobs save more money for many companies, increases opportunities for better entrepreneurship in the United States, as well as leads to many American citizens holding beneficial employment opportunities. Many foreign employees are hired to help with local marketing, contacts, and language. But what if we think about returning all of those jobs back on U.S. soil? For the return of the jobs to the U.S., we will have to assume that the unemployed here have the skills needed for those positions. Also, would American workers be willing to accept the low wages paid to foreign employees? If not, American consumers would be forced to pay higher prices. Imposing laws to artificially restrict job outsourcing would make the U.S. companies less competitive. If they are forced to hire expensive U.S. workers, they would raise prices and increase costs for consumers. The pressure to outsource might lead some companies to even move their whole operation, including headquarters, overseas. Others might not be able to compete with higher costs and would be forced out of business, but that trend is changing. Unlike technology outsourcing, there is a much smaller wage discrepancy between call center workers in the U.S. and emerging markets now. Perhaps the U.S. should start manufacturing its products locally. Imagine if all our imported products were partly manufactured in America. Other foreign companies should be required to follow the lead of Japanese automakers, who already do this. Of course, if the United States did that, it would mean higher prices for consumers. U.S. workers need a higher salary to pay due to the better standard of living. Outsourcing may not be the biggest threat to unemployment, though. Technological growth in automated intelligence could very well replace many human jobs, enormously impacting the U.S. job market in the eminently near future. American consumers, investors, and shareholders derive benefit from outsourcing, although some instances at the cost of U.S. wage earners. Another helpful dispute is that the outsourcing jobs to some other less developed nations help those nations economically. It aids in increasing trade for American-made products. Also, it brings those nations the ability for paying back its debts to America. The outsourcing practice is a complex issue to deal with, and the detractors and supporters agree on a particular thing. It shows that outsourcing practices cannot be removed completely. And this was it for today's video. We will see each other in another interesting topic in our next outing. Till then, press the like button and do comment your views on this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.